Yes, yes, yes. Oh, you know what that sound means. It's time for In the Paddock F1, Greeny and the Cheese. That's right, we close out the Asian swing of this year's F1 calendar in a familiar place for the 37th time. It's the Japanese Grand Prix. Japan, known for its cherry blossoms, Mount Fuji, cutting-edge technology, bullet trains, Japanese cuisine, as our friend Kramer from Seinfeld calls it, karate, and of course Greeny's favorite, karaoke.
Ooh. Catch me in a karaoke bar, get a little sushi, maybe a little, definitely a little sake. We're gonna have a party. It's gonna be party time.
Yeah, well, you know what? We don't care about any of that. This is an F1 show.
What's your go-to song?
I don't do karaoke, so I got none. We don't care about any of that. We're racing here, son. Talking about this is an F1 show. This ain't no travel partying show. I said you want something else, you go somewhere else.
Jimi Hendrix, Foxy Lady. Go ahead.
I thought I'll get into it in a minute. You got me all thrown off now. This is an F1 show, goddammit. We're racing at the classic Suzuka circuit. 3.6 miles, 18 corners. Some classics in there as well, of course. You got Dunlop, the Degner, Spoon Curve, and of course, 130R. You give it the full beans for 65% of your lap. And what a race we saw. Chaos at the beginning. Absolute chaos at the start. Contact made between multiple drivers. Certain drivers, the other thing was ruined because of that, from the damage. But let's be back. Everything got back to reality this week. Last week was just a hiccup. Max completely dominant all weekend, takes the win. Norris comes in second. It's a McLaren 2-3 as Piastri gets his first F1 podium of his career. We're caffeinated. We're medicated. Greeny, good evening, sir. I thought your go-to was like, she's a lady.
She's a lady's a good one. Top three. I switched to Foxy Lady. Way less words, way less to remember. And depending on how much sake you have that evening, it's probably important to know the words. Less words, Jimmy. More guitar. And you can rock the guitar solo. The ladies love the air guitar solo. That's a tip for all you fellas out there. But this is not a travel show or a karaoke show or a music show. No. This is an F1 show. And what a race we saw in Suzuka in the Paddock F1. Thanks, everyone, for joining us. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, if you're watching us on YouTube. If you're not, go check us out on YouTube. Just go to that search box, hit Greeny and the Cheese. You'll find us. I'm the guy with the hat, so you can't miss us. Yeah, man. What a weekend at Suzuka. Back to reality, a little bit, at least half reality, maybe full reality, because Sergio couldn't finish the race again. Yeah. Unbelievable how we're really back to square one with Red Bull. Max is winning once again, and Perez isn't finishing, and the Ferraris, look at them out there. No podium for them. Yeah, it's okay. I'm just busting on you. Fourth and sixth for Ferrari. Second and third for McLaren. Oscar Piastri, his first podium. And that about rounds out at least our top five with Lewis Hamilton in fifth. That really rounds out the top six this week. But obviously the big story is Max Verstappen at Suzuka.
Yeah, Max is back at the land of the rising sun. I mean, it was back to just straight up reality. Red Bull clinches the constructors with the McLaren 2-3, pushing the Mercs and the Ferraris down the order. So wrap that up. Max can wrap up the world title during the sprint in Qatar in couple weeks.
That's ridiculous.
That's ridiculous.
That's ridiculous.
I mean,
Unintended consequence, but that is.
Well, when you just dominate the entire season, I mean, it's something funky was probably bound to happen, especially with the sprint races and the additional points you get with that now, which is kind of ridiculous. But I'll leave it there with that. But just absolutely dominant for Max and Red Bull there. Perez, we'll get to that later. I mean, I got that saved up for later in the program because that was a straight hot mess. That was a hot mess. McLaren, massive performance again. I got a stat here. I'm sorry. Let me pull it up here.
Pull it up.
To give you a little something. The first 8 races of the year, McLaren had 17 total points. The last 8 races, 145. How about that turnaround?
Wow, and they put
How about
themselves
that turnaround?
in 5th.
How about that's a massive turnaround. Your first 8, you have 17 points total as a team, and then after that, you have 145.
But I'll even take it further.
Go for it.
Look at them preseason testing. They were 9th, 10th, dude. They were 9th, 10th. They were worse than Haas. They were worse than Haas.
Well, yeah, they were the first race in Bahrain. What, Lando and Piastri finished, 17th and 18th?
Something like that.
Something like that. I mean, the car was nowhere. It's nowhere. So the job that they've done back at the factory at McLaren, give it up to the engineers and everybody behind the scenes, really, because that's quite impeccable to take that car, which was hot garbage. Let's face it. Preseason testing opening weekend, that car was hot garbage. Hot garbage.
Yeah, and they really didn't bring upgrades till Silverstone.
Yeah.
And then again, it's Singapore.
It takes a while. It takes a while to develop your car.
Absolutely.
I mean, look at on the reverse side. Look at on the reverse side of that. Aston Martin, who hasn't done the best job of upgrading their car, where's that car now compared to where it was the first 8 races or so of the season? So if you get your developments wrong, it can set you back massively. As you know, Aston Martin has taken a step back, and McLaren has gone the right way with their developments and bringing the right upgrades. And now they're from the back of the pack to the front of the pack.
49 points separates Aston Martin and McLaren. 49.
Yeah.
But Aston, if you told me before the break that McLaren had a chance to pass Aston Martin, are you serious? This season? No way. But now look, anything could happen. Look after the break. And now the Asian swing and what they're doing, man, unbelievable. If you are a McLaren fan, a Lando Norris fan, or if you're down under rooting for Oscar Piastri and watching this show and listening, and I know there are definitely some Aussies that are listening every single week, you guys got to be pumped down there. You got to be pumped down there because and Piastri's a good dude. If you listen to him, even
so
in F2
calm.
last year,
so calm. Under control, showing maturity well above his age.
Absolutely.
Well above where a lot of drivers are when they, young drivers come in. He's well above that. Just the maturity level's massive. Under control. I mean, did you hear his post race on the radio? It was like he'd done it before. He wasn't like crazy pumped, screaming, yelling, and everything. It was just super calm. I mean, I got a little question for you in the news later. In the news, got a little something for that for later in regards to that. But just a great performance all around for McLaren. I think it was a pretty decent weekend for Ferrari, to be honest. I mean, they were pretty much in those spots. For a good chunk of the weekend, do FP 1, 2, and 3. So I think that was a pretty good spot for him. Merck got that one-stop strategy from Russell. That was just all wrong. They got that all wrong. Absolutely all wrong. That was just a mess. It was never going to work out. I mean,
never.
I mean, you could kind of see that just sitting at home watching F1 as much as, me and you both do. I mean, you could kind of see that wasn't going to happen just because the lap times of where they were going and the degradation. I mean, they gave it a go. It was never going to happen. No chance that was ever going to work.
Lewis Hamilton has still got it. To go from a 2-stop strategy versus a 1-stop strategy and finishing two spots ahead in the race. And bottom line,
Russell was a sitting duck there the last 5 laps. Let's be real; those tires were absolutely cooked, and he had nothing. And
whose fault is that? Whose fault is that?
It's the team. That's the team's fault.
It's not just the team's fault, and it's not just the team's fault as well. And it's not. It's a group effort there with Russell.
You roll the dice. You roll the dice, and sometimes you don't roll the hard six.
No. No. Snake eyes this time. It was some snake eyes this time.
Sometimes you don't roll the hard six.
And like always, there's always bad luck associated. You saw Max Verstappen not winning a race last week. There's bad luck involved. There's different conditions involved, and this is the spot where he just had a bad situation for Russell and Mercedes. Not good for them, but listen.
Maybe it happened because Toto wasn't there. Toto wasn't there.
Yeah, Toto wasn't there.
Maybe that has something to do with
it. I don't know if the strategy was all, because there was nothing on the fly. I mean, it seemed to be a pre-approved, pre-talked about strategy.
I think as the race was developing, they you're always going to talk about it pre-race. You're always going to have your A, B, C, and D plans for your stops, because you never know what's going to happen. I mean, you could get a safety car at a certain time will makes your decision a certain way. Most teams are talking, though, going in just because of the temperatures that they were experiencing in Japan. Suzuka's also very hard on tires, even though it's pretty even. Where there's I think it's like 10 corners right, 8 corners to the left, or something like that. It's very even, so you're not getting more dag on one side than versus another, as you get at some tracks, because it is a figure 8 layout, so it's a little bit different. But I mean, most teams going into the race, or most of the weekend, were saying probably a 2-stopper, just because of the deg they were getting. So trying to roll the dice on a 1-stopper, I mean, you could roll the dice, but as we know recently in F1, that doesn't usually pay off.
Consensus?
Just the way the tires have been working with Pirelli and things, the last like 2 years or so. I mean, the 1 stop is not really paid off when the rest of the field's doing 2 stops as much as it did in the past. I mean, it's not as much.
Yeah, and it's, I think as well, it's the group. It's not even the group strategy. It's everyone's strategy, right? Everyone chooses a strategy and everyone sticks with it. And I think everyone's just coming to the same consensus where most of these stops are 2. Even we've seen some 3 stoppers. 1 stop is not in the cards anymore, just because of the tire deg, because maybe the downforce, maybe it's the new cars, maybe it's just the way, because the downforce has totally changed. Maybe it's just, again, the way the car is built. You would know more than that than I would. But what's coming up, because you should stick around to see how much I know today, it's Quizmaster's Cockpit. Will we hear some bings or some buzzers? And based on your face when I said that, because we have not spoken anything about this, I'm going to get a lot of buzzers this week. Greeny and the Cheese in the Paddock F1. We'll be back in a second. I think so.
Better hope so.
Better hope so. We're back. We'll see you guys. Oh, yes. Greeny and the Cheese in the Paddock F1. We're back. Needed a quick sip of Gatorade there. Get me through this one. What a weekend it's been, man.
You might need some sake, sir.
No sake in this bottle. No sake. I can't be that laid back. I don't think the audience can handle it. Dude.
I think it'd be fracking ridiculously funny.
For every question I get wrong, I take a shot of sake. Where are we going next?
Hey, man, I come on here. I'm medicated as hell for this program, so...
I need to catch up. I'm just waiting for my bow tie to come in so I can get some, some of that action going. The costume is almost complete. You made no reference at all to the Mad Hatter, but
It's not complete.
It's almost complete. It's almost complete.
You get a reference when it's complete.
Waiting for my big purple bow tie.
Damn right. If you're gonna do it, you got to do it right, sir. So we say on this program,
do it right or go home. But
that's right.
Good thing I'm home already. All right, listen. I don't know. Just go.
All right, you strapped in? Let me hand you your helmet.
Vroom, vroom, baby.
All right, well, it's time for Quizmaster's Cockpit.
Oh, Lord.
And just let you know for the next part of the, what happens after this is, winners and losers, of course, and how you perform determines what we go into it. And as I have been doing recently, I wrote losers first.
That is correct, sir.
That is correct, sir.
That is correct.
Question number 1, sir. Well, including today, since I did write this the day of the race, so including today. How many F1 races have been held at Suzuka?
Jeez.
Mm.
37.
That's how many Grand Prix there have been in Japan, yes.
Right.
But they did not race all of them at Suzuka, sir.
No, they didn't. They raced it from Fuji. So how many at Fuji?
4.
Which gives us 33.
At Suzuka. So you're incorrect, sir.
It's like
off to a flying start as we have been the last number of weeks. Like a piece of hot garbage.
All right, come on.
Question number 2.
You knew any of these answers. You got them all on the internet, so come on.
Hey, you want the questions. You want to prove your knowledge.
I keep bringing it.
Apparently, you're not learning either. Because that was a question right out of last year's. That was a question right out of last year's Grand Prix. I just changed the numbers one.
All right. All right. Maybe I should listen to my own show. That might help.
Hey, wouldn't hurt. Question number 2.
With the zingers, by the way. Dropping that one. Maybe you should listen to your own show, he says.
Question number 2. One of our favorite drivers was back in Japan. Seb was back. He was making bee houses and insect homes.
That feels like so long ago, I forgot all about that.
It's a conservation effort, my friend. And
on the
Seb
track.
is all about conservation.
Right on the track.
So in regards to Seb being back in Japan,
God,
how many wins did Seb have in Japan?
I think my gut says 4.
That is correct.
Oh, wow. I wasn't even locked in, to be honest, but thank you. I was good at 4. I didn't think it was 5. Thanks for giving it to me. That wasn't even my locked in answer. But that's what it takes.
And if you want to know the years, it was 09, 10, 12, and 13. All with
Red Bull.
That's correct. All right. 1 for 1 for it.
Well, it's 2 right?
No, you got the first one wrong. You said 37 when it was 33.
You just asked me what Seb drove for in those 4 wins.
Well, that was a bonus. That was a bonus that counts towards the quiz.
I tried.
I mean, you already lost anyway. You got to get all 3 right. And you already screwed the first one up, so.
Maybe you can give me some extra credit if I get this one right.
All right, we'll see. I don't think so either. Also, a question, a little bit brought back from last year's episode as well.
Got it wrong already.
Max now has 2 wins in Japan. Name the other 5 drivers that have 2 wins in Japan. Hey, that's why I write losers first now every week, because I know what's coming.
So we got Max, we got Mika Hakkinen, I believe.
That is correct. That's 1.
Oh, wow.
4 more to go.
I have no fucking clue. Nico? Rosberg? Rosberg. No.
I'll give you one. Mess up there before we drop the hammer on the question here.
Damon Hill?
Yes. That's 2.
No idea. Rubens Barrichello?
No.
No idea.
I'll give you one more. Because I'm feeling kind and magnanimous today.
I know Schumi won more than that, and Lewis won more than that. Kimi Räikkönen.
No. You're gonna kick yourself on 2.
2
One of them is 2 of them. One is still on the grid.
Fernando?
Yep. One is a legend from Formula 1.
Legend in Formula 1.
Legend, all-time legend. One of the greatest drivers ever set foot in a Formula 1 car.
Senna only won 2?
Senna only won 2. How about that?
Really?
88 and 93. How about that?
Yeah.
How about that?
Wow.
And the last one I didn't really think you'd get, but that was Gerhard Berger.
Gerhard.
He won in 87 and 91.
Yeah, I was going to say, he won, I think was that the first year at Suzuka? Maybe 86, 87.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
All right, but that's wrong.
But that's wrong. But maybe you should listen to your own show. Listen to your own damn show. That's the lesson out there, kids. If you got a show and you don't listen to it, and someone quizzes you on your own show, you look like a jackass. Not that I look like a jackass, but it's possible.
I'll beg to differ on that, but anyway, we'll move on.
This is the night of zingers, my friend. It's an old night of zingers.
I'm on fire tonight. I can't help it.
Fuego.
So, as decreed many moons ago in a prior episode, how you perform in Quizmasters cockpit designs on how we do in the next segment. So we go to losers first. And I'm going to give my first loser is going to go to Williams. Albon, absolutely bad luck there at the start. Got smashed, ruined his car for the day, so you knew that was going to be parked. And Logan Sargent. We had praised Logan Sargent at the beginning of the year for his performances. Well, you know what? Recently, let's be honest, he's been straight hot garbage. Straight hot garbage. And he might not even have a seat coming up next year, because he is not confirmed. I think he is the only seat on the grid not confirmed for next year. So, yeah, pick it up there, Logan. And I got to give it to Yuki. I mean, you can't even finish in front of your teammate at your home Grand Prix.
Again?
I mean, how you even, to be honest, well, I'll save that for in the news when we get into that. But honestly, I don't really think he should have that seat for next year. Those would be my losers.
I don't know.
What you got?
I don't know what I got this week. Sergio Perez. I was going to give him the slap, but loser. Just besides not finishing, just the way he went out, hitting the Haas.
No.
I know you don't like that.
He gets the slap. That was disastrous. That was hot stinking garbage mess. That was like a landfill mess. That's what that was.
It's been a mess.
That was
been
awful.
a mess.
I mean,
and he slapped himself several times this season, and I don't think he gets it. So I don't know what they're going to do with Sergio Perez. I think Danny Ricciardo might have that seat next year. And I know we talked about that earlier this season. I laughed at you, and I'm not laughing at you anymore because I think Danny's going to have that seat because Sergio Perez does not deserve that seat after this weekend. I'm also going to, I don't know, like we said in the first segment, the whole Mercedes team, what they did with the one-stop race with Russell. Russell could have finished 4th.
Fair.
At least 6th. At least got at least another spot. Every point counts, especially for Mercedes, who is battling right now with Ferrari. There's a 20-point difference with Ferrari right now in the Constructors' title for second, and you're messing around in a crucial spot down the stretch. Every point counts. Every point is huge right now. Yeah. And those are my losers.
All right.
Oh, one more.
Uh-oh.
One more. Also sticking with Red Bull and sticking with AlphaTauri for not bringing back Liam Lawson next year. And those are my losers.
Well, we were saving that for later, but apparently not.
No, I got a better one.
All right. No, I wasn't even putting that in the slap. That was for in the news, but, thanks for blowing that bubble.
Keep me up. We get it again. I spent 2 seconds talking about it. We can elaborate later. This is not a one-trick pony. You got stuff going on. Let's roll, man. Winners. Get happy.
Winners. Happy time, people.
Happy time.
I'm going to give it to Alpine. 2 in the points. I mean, that team was a hot mess a few weeks ago, and it's kind of turned around recently. So 2 cars to the points. The last race they probably would have had 2 cars to the points if they didn't have the Ocon doesn't have that explosion there at the late in the race. So, but we're good to Alpine. I'm going to give it to him again just because we talked about it in the first segment, but McLaren, just that turnaround. First 8 races, 17 points. Last 8 races, 145 points. 2-3 finish. Best finish of the year for the team. Absolutely massive turnaround. So got to give it to McLaren for winners this week. Those would be my winners.
I'm going to go where you're not going, is Ferrari, man. 4th and 6th, you got to give it up for Ferrari, especially after their struggles. We did not think we would see a top 5 finish or a podium at all before break or going into break. And now, look at them, man. They're scoring points every week. You got 2 cars coming in top 6. That's really where you want. It's really where you want to be every single week. No worse than 6. That's where you ended up. I got to give a win because no offense to Ferrari, but we've seen a lot of times where we had a car outside of the points or finishing 7th, 8th this year. That's unacceptable for Ferrari. You're not going to win the whole thing, obviously, this year. It's pretty much over for Red Bull. But you're still battling for second in the Constructors. You're right there for second in the Constructors.
Cash,
right there.
Baby. Got to get that cash.
Right there. You're 20 points behind.
Got to get that cash.
You got to do a little bit better, but this is a great start for down the stretch for Ferrari. You gave it to Alpine as well. I'm going to give it to Zhou. Guan Yu Zhou has been quietly putting together from the back and from behind, from the last row, even though he hasn't scored points in a while. And I think Alfa Romeo's got about all of 10 points the entire season, according to my notes here. But yeah, man, the last row, and plus there's not many one left on the grid to pick here, but and I'm not picking a Haas. So, but no, seriously, starting on the back row, I really think that that is another. And he doesn't get enough credit this season. He really is racing a pretty good season for the vehicle he's driving in and starting last row pretty much every race. Those are my winners, sir. Which leaves us only with.
I need to slap my goddamn self for that.
I got a bunch of choices here, but I just switched it up at the last second. Just switched it up at the last second. And I'm going to give my slap this week to Charles Leclerc.
Wow.
Okay?
No.
I'll tell you why. When Sergio Perez retired, Charles Leclerc thought that was Max Verstappen.
Yeah.
He thought he was going to get podium. Then he was pumped. And he was dead wrong. I think he slapped himself for that one. So I'm going to go with the theme. I'm going to bring up my other slap later in the news, okay? Because I'm going to save that one. Because there's a lot of slaps to go around. But to not call out Charles Leclerc for thinking that he got podium, because it's pretty funny. It's pretty funny, and I think everyone could slap themselves for that. So that is definitely my week. Slap yourself. It is a less of aggressive slap. I wanted to unleash the fury, but I'm not going to right now. We're going to stick with that. But I'm going to unleash some fury next segment. So if you're listening and you're not thinking you should stick around for next segment, in like another 10 minutes, you should stick around. You got anything else to add before we go to break? That was a long-ass segment.
No.
All right, Greeny the Cheese and the Paddock F1. Check out the YouTube channel if you're not. If you're watching us on YouTube, then go check out the podcast. We have all 84, 85, whatever episode we're on, all for free. We're never going to ask you for money. We're never going to charge you for anything. Just come enjoy the show, have fun with us, and absolutely comment, subscribe if you haven't already. We need as many subscribers as possible so we can keep all our stuff free. And we appreciate everyone along for the ride. Greeny the Cheese and the Paddock F1 back in a flash. Greeny Bucks next.
Ah, yes! We're back in the Paddock F1, Greeny the Cheese. You know what that sound means? Time to take that fantasy ride to that fantasy island of Greentopia, where the beer flows like wine and the wine flows like beer. And the cannabis grows as far as the eyes can see. Look at it. Look at it out there. Green and luscious. Take a little whiff. That air smells fantastic. We take a little walk to the top of the hill. Got a casino at the top, tickets in hand. We'll be cashing in, or I'll be checking out. Well, Greeny ain't checking out crap this week because he screwed the pooch.
Yeah, I need to get me to the happy hour, relaxing mode in the Caribbean here. Yeah, it's what happens when the races are 1 o'clock in the morning.
Well, you know what though? I was there. I got my bets in, even though they ended up being straight trash. Gotta get them in. Gotta get them in.
Well, you lost money. I would have gained money because I hit the trifecta, but I fell asleep and then woke up after the race was over. I did not look at the race results, though, but it doesn't matter because Vegas rules. I couldn't just walk up to the, fairness. I couldn't just walk into Vegas after a game and be like, hey, put my money on the underdog. That would be great. But no. That doesn't work.
It's not how it works, sir.
But I didn't watch the game. Unfortunately, it's not how it works. Can't throw one bet this guy. I didn't even put the values in. I woke up at like 5 o'clock in the morning. It was like, oh my God. But,
I was a hot mess when I placed my bets. I was sloshed at that point of the evening. Especially after the other disaster I watched before that. But anyway, we don't just digress into that at all.
That's a very, very small audience which would not understand.
I was pretty much sloshed at that hour.
I was pretty much done. Didn't even know a race was going on.
3 sheets to the wind, my friend.
Didn't even know. So which leaves us only. Oh wait, actually, we got to get a count because you did lose a little bit this week. You took Max Verstappen for the win. Bing. The trifecta was right. They get Russell in the trifecta there. That didn't work.
No, I had Perez in the trifecta.
Perez, yeah, that definitely didn't work out for you. So that didn't work out. And I think biggest gainer this week, which no one got.
I had Albon. That didn't work out either.
So you had a lot of DNFs. We call that.
That start pretty much ruined my day. Outside of Max.
Guan Yu Zhou, biggest gainer of the day. +6, and one of my winners this week with that. So no one got that. You, sir, somehow, after I took the lead, not in the lead, still, you're holding on by the slimmest of margins, sir.
Hang on.
I would have been up if I was conscious when I hit the send button, but I fell asleep. So with that, you have 5,350 Greeny bucks, and I have 5,300 Greeny bucks. So by the slimmest of margins, a single 50 Greeny buck bet, you are ahead. And with that face you're making, quite confident that you're going to take this down. It is a flat foot race to the end. We've never had this before on Greeny Bucks.
Yeah.
We are in uncharted territory. Usually by now I'm calling my bookie, trying to sell some bodily fluids for some extra Greeny Bucks. I'm packing my bags and making sure the drawers are empty and getting booted off the island. But this year, sir, I'm holding on by more than just a thread. So we'll see down the stretch if I hit that button. By the way, which had no dollar values associated with it. That's how much I was thinking about it. But if I bet my normal 100 across the board, I'd be up by 300 Greeny bucks. Not a ton. So it wasn't like a landslide destruction. Even with if I did hit it, which I didn't hit it, you are, god damn it, still in the lead all season long. Even when I win, I can't win. This guy's wearing McLaren orange this week. He's laughing. Listen, again, if you haven't checked this out on YouTube, go to YouTube, hit the search button, hit Greeny and the Cheese, Greeny, Greeny and the Cheese. Come find us in the Paddock F1. We only got one more thing to do, and that, sir, is...
In the news!
In the news, sir. What is in the news?
Oh, we got a lot to unpack this week, boys and girls. Let me tell you that. Let's start off with Alonso. Not a happy camper there at Aston Martin. Calling the team out on their strategy, saying he fed them to the wolves during the race. What you think about that? Or is he getting frustrated with what's going on there at Aston Martin?
Listen, the way Alonso was spent the first half of the season, basically coming in second almost every single race, and the way he was getting past those last 10 laps, like he was standing still, like he was driving a Haas. Yeah. I mean, when you're used to being out in front, I mean, what did he podium? Like 5 of the first 6 races or something like that?
Something like that, yeah.
I mean, you're not used to being in the back. So now he's finding himself not just in the back end of the points, but slipping further and further back. We knew Aston Martin would definitely go backwards. We knew they didn't have the upgrades. We knew they were very, plugging everything in for the front of the season and trying to inflate their numbers as quickly as possible early on. It worked early on, but Fernando should be, I don't want to say happy he gets a seat, because he definitely deserves a seat.
Oh, yeah, by far.
In Formula One, especially the way he's driven this year, but it's just frustration. It's frustrating. Where's he going? Red Bull? That would be cool.
Oh, man. That would be an interesting...
Just 1 year.
That would be interesting.
Just 1 year.
That would be interesting. All right, next up, Lewis was not a happy camper this weekend, saying Merck has a lot of development to do to their car in the next 6 months. Is he right?
Yeah, he's right. Lewis wants to win another championship. Lewis wants to win 8. He definitely wants to win number 8. He doesn't want to win it with whatever ridiculous lawsuit with that Felipe Massa nonsense is going on. I know that's been in the news recently. He wants to win number 8 on the track, and his time to do that is getting very, very low. We're seeing what's happening with the aforementioned Fernando Alonso, who's, in his early 40s, but how long can you really, and it only takes one injury. It takes one injury in that car to have your career over, especially when you're in your late 30s. Lewis Hamilton only has another season or 2 to win a championship, and it's going to be with Mercedes. If he does, where else is he going? Unless he goes to Red Bull, which Max and Lewis driving the Red Bull is not going to happen. So
there'd be fights in that garage.
There would be. Listen, if it's for one season, I'd love to see Fernando in that Red Bull, like I just said, for 1 year. But Yeah, Lewis wants to win a title. He wants to win number 8. I don't think it's going to happen. I think Max is going to be dominating with Red Bull, at least for the rest of Lewis's career, where he's able to compete for a title. And I think we're seeing a little bit with Fernando Alonso what it's like to drive when you're in your 40s and your late 30s. You take a step back late in the season. We saw it with a lot of drivers over the years. It's just the first half of the season you're great. The second half of the season you take a step back. So it's frustration as well. Lewis and
I think that has a lot to do with the car, but Anyway.
And I think if that car was what it was 3 years ago, I think Lewis would be competing for a title right now.
Well, 100%. Totally agree with that. Let's see where we're gonna go next. I got like 3 more for you, actually. I got a little funny one here for you. Carlos Sainz was laughing on the radio during the race when he noticed that that Mercedes was trying his trick from Singapore to try and save George. But it didn't work out.
Nope.
Carlos was laughing all the way. What's your thoughts on that?
Carlos needs to just stick to driving. He really is just emerging now as a really legitimate driver. We were talking 2 months ago of him not even driving for Ferrari anymore, and now he looks like the number 1 driver for Ferrari on most weeks. He didn't this week. Carlos can laugh all he wants when he's getting consistent podiums. Because if he continued with that season, if he didn't get that win, or if he didn't pick it up, especially the last 2 months here, he was in a little trouble there. Carlos had a rough first half of the season. So Carlos should be doing more driving and less laughing. But as far as the move is concerned, It didn't work. When you get cute, you know what happens, right? Like, you're going against aces, right? Aces are you're solid. You have aces. This is what you want to do. And when you're playing poker, 80% of the time the aces work, but 20% of the time something else works. And you got to get lucky. Like you said earlier in the show, roll the dice. They rolled the dice. But
sometimes you don't roll that hard 6.
Yeah.
It's not easy. Let's see. We got 2 more to go here. Oscar Piastri got his first podium in Formula One. Do you see an F1 title in his future?
Yes.
I would agree with that.
Because of his maturity level.
Yep.
It's funny when you you listen to an interview with Oscar Piastri, and then you see him interview, you're like, oh my, he looks like a baby.
Yeah.
Maybe because we're old. But you hear him and his maturity, he is really mature. He has really that X factor that Max didn't have at 19. Max was still like a wild teenager, and when you're that far ahead, I don't know Oscar Piastri's like really early upbringing well enough to know however he was brought up, man, he's really good. He's good at interviews. He's good at all that stuff, and he sounds good. He looks good, and he's driving out of his mind right now, and it's great to see. F1 needs an infusion of younger guys. No offense to the older guys, but we just saw Sebastian Vettel, Kimi Räikkönen. Now we're seeing, the stars are in their late 30s, early 40s. That's not where you want your stars to be. We want to see more Lando, more Piastri, more younger guys, more Charles Leclerc. That's what the future is, and
Max,
and of course Max Verstappen.
Final question. Saving this one for last, because I know you're going to blow your stack. AlphaTauri named Yuki Tsunoda and Danny as their drivers for next season. Did they make a mistake not giving Lawson one of those seats? Let it rip, sir.
From a marketing standpoint, they did the right thing, right? It's a lot easier to market Danny Ricciardo than it is Liam Lawson. All right? Absolutely. And it's a lot easier to market Yuki Tsunoda, who they want, who has a personality, who's fun, who can be like a quirky guy.
He brings in all the money from Japan. Let's be
So-
real. It was about cash.
This
It was
is
about cash.
So from a marketing and financial standpoint,
It's about cash.
and the two of them together are going to be hilarious. And they really want a great offseason. They're going to be hilarious. And I hope Liam Lawson is next in line if and when Danny Ricciardo is really finished. But from a Formula One standpoint, from a driving standpoint, from a nuts and bolts standpoint, are you out of your mind? Have you lost your mind? Like, seriously. Have you lost it? Liam Lawson finished ahead every race. Every race of the season, this man has finished ahead. He wasn't even thinking. He was driving the VR cars, right? He wasn't even driving a Formula One car. This guy was playing video games. Well, I mean, not the ones you play, but
Yeah.
and then he gets on that track and dominates under scrutiny of having no one knowing your name to hundreds of millions of people knowing your name and face virtually overnight. That's not, if you watch Formula One, they bring them up through Formula 2 for a reason. They get them to a point in Formula 2. They do a whole off-season presser where they bring these guys around as the rookies. They treat them as rookies. They get them adapted to the life, to the world of Formula One. There's only 20 drivers, so the pressure is just on. There's more guys on any sports team than there is in the entire Formula One paddock.
Yep.
So with all of that, and they hire agents, they hire talent people, they hire people to work with all of this talent to not just be able to drive well on one side, but be able to do all the other stuff. He didn't get any of that. They just threw him out there. And if you're subscribed to the Red Bull channel on YouTube or other channels on YouTube, he does other stuff. They put him on game shows. They put him on all. I mean, go watch him and Yuki on the Japanese game show. I mean, it's.
Saw that. I saw that.
But that's where they're putting him out on. Driving the delivery truck, right? You saw that?
Yeah, it was Max and Perez were there.
It was
too.
Max and Perez, yeah.
Yeah, against Yuki and Liam.
Yuki and Liam. That was some interesting stuff. So obviously you subscribe as well. I didn't even talk to you about a pre-show. But yeah, that's what they do, and you get trained for that. He had no training, just threw him in. He's doing such a fabulous job, and he's driving well. With all of that, there's so much more than just jumping in the car and driving that these guys are prepped for, that he didn't get any of it and just doing great. So hopefully in the future, I don't know, how old is Liam Lawson? I don't even know how old he is. But in the future, I hope Liam, in the next 2 to 3 years, he's a name now, and he didn't, obviously on his benefit, he didn't stick around long enough to be able to mess up.
Well, there's a rumor out there that he might be Williams might be trying to grab him.
It'd be great.
To
Great
take over
idea.
the sergeant seat.
Great idea.
But he's come out and said he's a Red Bull driver. So
he is a Red Bull driver, and we, sir, are way overtime. So with that being said, where are we going next?
we're going to Qatar. 2 weeks. How about that? We'll stand alone back out in the Middle East before we head back to the American swing.
And when we go to the Middle East, what might happen during the sprint race? We should probably do a show about this. We should probably do a separate show. I think we're going to do a special between now and the next race. How ridiculous it is. You want to see me blow my top? I'm going to have to I've already got my earplugs coming out. This is ridiculous. How Max Verstappen can win the title, okay? In a sprint race.
Yep.
He doesn't even have to win the sprint race
No.
to win the title.
No.
We are in madness mode now. We have...
Yeah. It's Mad Hatter time.
We went to the cliff and we went off. Because the guy's going to win. He's going to come in second in the sprint race and win the title. And then he's going to race the next day. Insane. Insanity. All bets are off. And yeah, so watch for that. And then, of course, we got the race in 2 weeks, which is like a week and a half now. So watch for that. And, of course, hit us up in the Paddock USA at gmail.com. Email us, get involved in the show. Maybe we'll do a call-in hotline one day so we can all call in and
We'll go live.
yell at us. Ooh, maybe live one day. Maybe next race will be live. We'll see. Maybe the sprint race for the championship. We'll see. In the Paddock F1, Greeny the Cheese. And as always, sir, take us home.
Stay medicated, my friends. You know I will.
You know this man will. Greeny the Cheese in the Paddock F1. Thanks for joining us. We will see you all.
Peace.
2 weeks.